So my name is Jennifer Goldsberry. I'm the owner of Doodads, which we have 2 retail storefronts in addition to an estate sale company that goes in and liquidates the contents of homes all over the Quad Cities and surrounding areas.
The first thing we want to ask is just a fun fact about yourself.
A fun fact about myself, you guys are good. I don't even know if it's that fun. You know, I have a secret indulgent of American Horror Story. That's one of my secret, I guess it's not maybe a secret, but I keep it under wraps. But I definitely indulge in that. Little Netflix. A lot of people think that I work all the time, and I do, but I take a little time off to indulge in some of those things for sure.
When you have people come in and sell stuff, what do you do to attract them to sell it to you?
Right. Well, first and foremost, I've had a lot of longevity in this area, so a lot of times they're finding me, but most definitely I work with a lot of, as far as my estate sale business, I work with a lot of realtors, attorneys, that type of thing. I have done sales for multiple families, so I'm very fortunate that maybe not fortunate, I don't know, it's estate sales. I do have a lot of repeat business, that's for sure. We've been around a long time. As far as people coming in to sell us stuff at these venues or at these 2 storefronts, we do, some advertising to attract that. Certainly word of mouth, I'm always pounding the pavement and letting people know to come in, we're buyers and all that kind of thing. So I utilize all different formats for that. I started this business almost 25 years ago, and certainly at the time, the biggest obstacle for me personally, I was a single mom. I didn't have a lot of money to start up a business, and I literally started small with a set of shelves in an antique mall here locally, and I got the bug so quickly. I had a fantastic silent partner that was helping me, my dear departed Bob and Lil, my original partner in the store, and we gravitated towards needing a storefront. The little spot in the antique mall wasn't enough for me, and I literally just took a little bit of my tax money and I just went for it. I just opened I went and rented a small building, and that's just really how I started. The obstacles at that time, there weren't a lot of girls in that business at the time, or at least not the way that I was entering it, so that was certainly a challenge. And at that time I was a younger person entering the business, and a lot of, at the time, what you would say antique dealers and things like that were very established. My goal was to open a store that was really fun and affordable, so it was a little bit different than the traditional antique store. And those were some obstacles that we faced. And throughout really my store's longevity, I've gone through the Y2K, we've done 9/11, recessions, certainly the pandemic. So we've definitely faced a lot of obstacles. And I've had obstacles as far as locations and things like that. This is my fifth or sixth location that I've moved the store. It originated in Illinois, and now it's here in Iowa. So. What's really fascinating, and again, I've been in this business a very long time, it's definitely growing. It's certainly making a popular surgence, not only among our regular type folks that we always see. They're coming back, they're coming out now, of course, with everybody being locked down for so long, but generations, younger generations are definitely taking an interest in it, and that's something that we're really fascinated by and interested in. It's something that I read a lot about. Certainly we think that there's a lot of positives to shopping this way. You've got, you're saving, things from landfills, you're rescuing things, and everything here has got an interesting story. It's unique. So certainly it's really exciting that we're touching a lot of different generations for sure. I was just at my downtown store, and they re-aired an interview we did on Paula Sands. So I walk in, and an older lady approaches me, and she's like, "Oh, it's great to see you." And I see so many people now. I was super happy to see her. We love shoppers. And she said, I was thinking about it. I saw that on Paula Sands today, and I have been coming to your store since you were on 16th Street in Moline, and that's had to have been 25 years. I was just having grandchildren, and I bought my grandson's first table outside of your store for $11. I wouldn't sell it for $100, and that was 25 years ago. Congratulations. And I thought, that is really amazing, and I see that quite a bit where we've got kind of our older long-term customers, and then I meet young people all the time. So what's exciting for me in my business is that I'm still relevant. I'm able to attract so many different age groups, and just such a diverse mix of people that come and shop at the store. And I'm super happy to be part of somebody's story like that. That's holy cow. When things started to close down and the pandemic was really shutting things down, I worried about the retail store. I mean, certainly with things closing and requirements coming into place, it was a concern for me. My store, as I mentioned earlier, had made it through, Y2K, 9/11. So, there's a part of me that I was confident that I'm going to weather this out because that's what I'm going to do for this business that I love, But on my estate sale aspect, the biggest challenge for me was, global pandemic or not, I had homes that had sold that truly needed still the service. Their houses were going to close, pandemic or not, and we had to very quickly adapt to figure out how to overcome the challenge of still providing the service in a world where a public sale where we want as many people as possible, we really couldn't have anybody in. So we quickly switched to a live event online where I sold, the first one we did was absolutely unbelievable. We sold an entire house and its contents in about, I'm going to say, maybe 15 hours live on Facebook. It was basically like a one-on-one home shopping club. My throat was trashed. It was so exciting for not only the people that worked there, but the people shopping that way. It was super thrilling, and we gave people some normalcy for a minute, and yet we were overcoming probably one of the biggest obstacles we were facing with the pandemic, and that is, how are we going to sell these things when people cannot come in? And we had great success through the whole thing. I was very fortunate to be able to switch to that format and continue my business and really bring another facet of my business now that I can offer people if they want that. It's led to me doing a regular online sale, usually on Sunday nights. It's called Sunday at 6, where I do a live jewelry sale from one of my locations, live on Facebook, and it's kind of fun. People really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
So do you think you'll do that moving forward post-pandemic, the
For
live
sure.
auctions?
Absolutely. It's something that I continue to do. I've got one this Sunday night. It's also a new option that I can offer clients. It's a new option that I can offer clients that maybe we didn't think about before, but certainly it's going to pair well with folks that maybe can't have an on-site sale. Maybe they live in a condominium. For whatever reasons, we should be able to continue forward, and I think there's an audience for it. We really picked up an audience for it. Something that's definitely probably one of the best skills to have, or to always hone and work on, is 100% customer service and the ability to communicate and relate with people. And that's always been something that's been really important to me, even long before the experience was sort of a trendy thing. Even with my very first store, I wanted to make sure that people were having a good experience when they came in, whether it be a good feeling that they're going to walk in and see something that they can literally buy and afford. Years ago with antique stores, they might be extremely high priced. So you might walk in and see something very cool and it would be out of your reach. And it was my goal to make sure that I had things that anybody could come in and buy. And it's been a policy that I've stuck with the entire time I've had my business. And it also translates into the estate sale business, where I'm typically working with somebody that's going through a big life change. So with the client, I want to make sure I'm offering good customer relation skills and communication. And then on the flip side, I want to make the sale itself fun and approachable for people, because it can be a sobering business. So some of the skills that I really value is customer service and patience. I think those go a long way. I'm always striving for greater success. That's for sure. That's my goal. I feel like, I'm going to say within the last maybe 5 to 8 years, I'm going to say the last 5 years, I really feel like things have fallen into place. I'm not going to say breathe easier, because I'm always on time constraints. I'm always racing against the clock to get things set up and done. In addition to running 2 retail stores, it's a lot of pressure. I feel really, when I'm able to be approached by people like, yourselves and other venues, and they want to talk to me, that's, I feel like, a little bit of a measured success. I'm very thrilled when I go meet with a client, a potential client, and I come in and they say to me things like, "You've been highly recommended. We heard you're, great at what you do." So when I started to hear that type of stuff, I think that really, again, very humbling, made me feel like we've reached some measure of success, especially when I feel like, we are an established name now here in town in this genre, of business, of resale and vintage and things like that. So I suppose I'm going to say it's been a success for sure. I've been happy to hear a lot of positive things over the last few years. So that's probably the timeline.
So like anything in this building right now, how do you determine its value before buying them?
Right. So, I buy a variety of ways, and sometimes, there's opportunities to buy things maybe in bulk or in a way that it's just going to be a successful transaction no matter what. You're kind of buying it right. Otherwise, I do glean a lot from past experiences. What have I sold similar items for in the past? Do I have a client or customer that's going to be interested in this that I'm buying? So those are some of the things I factor in when purchasing things. The thing about the store here and even my goal when I very first opened it, even with the name, I wanted to be able to cover so many different things. I didn't want to limit it to, 1950s or antiques or even vintage stuff at all. I can really sell anything here. So my goal is to usually buy something in a way that I'm able to pass the deal on to somebody else, or maybe just have something cool in the store. But I certainly take time to research it. Of course, now with the internet, it's easy to research things. But I'm a fair buyer as well. So that's another reason I think why we're able to come across some great things, because we do pay fairly. So some of the things that surprised me along, the years that I've had my business haven't necessarily been bad surprises. A lot of what has surprised me is, I think it kind of goes back to customers and things like that. It's really amazing to me how people truly do, even before it was trendy, people truly do value the experience. Even when someone comes into the store, they certainly want, for the most part, an interaction. It's a feel-good store. It's certainly full of nostalgia. So it was surprising to me how many people consistently come in and collect things, and there's just a buyer for everything, and just when you think there isn't, then somebody comes in and is seeking something that maybe you're surprised about. Certainly like any other business owner, I've had, just operating, surprises and things that you try to account for. But definitely, all in all, it's been a very positive experience for me. Even the challenges of just, they've just made us grow and given me confidence in my business that to know that I have sustained challenges and I'm still here.
What do you think has been the coolest thing, in your opinion, that you have ever sold to somebody out of one of your locations?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because we have came across so many cool things. In my estate sales, I've sold, there isn't much I haven't sold. I've sold sailboats and kind of fun collector cars and things like that are super fun to sell. I've sold telephone booths. There just isn't a lot that I haven't sold. I'm always excited when I sell something that's kind of extreme, because it's real interesting. I did a sale recently for one of the cast members of the American Pickers, and his sale was phenomenal. I sold so many things there that were awesome to sell. I can't even begin to tell you, As far as a store standpoint, some things that I think that are kind of interesting that I've sold. When I was in Moline, I had a couple guys walk down an actual coffin to the shop and they were walking. I don't know, that's how they were carrying it, and I purchased that and it sold right away. So to me that was just kind of a weird thing that happened, but certainly, you know, we've sold some pretty fascinating things. It's really hard to pinpoint one, but I can think of a million of them.
Did you have any advice that you wish you had before you started?
I can tell you that I honestly, what's kind of interesting is I had a lot of advice before I started. Some of the best advice I had came from some kind of fellow vintage store owners at the time. You know, I had, you know, somebody tell me, you know, especially in the retail setting, make sure that you're here during the hours that you say you're going to be. You know, just kind of stick with your word, that type of stuff. Another gal gave me a lot of advice about locations and things like that, and not necessarily buying a permanent spot, but keeping yourself lucid, so if a neighborhood changes, you can change and move if you need to. So that was some great advice. You know, some of the advice that I wish maybe that I would have got, you know, might have been more on the maybe the financial aspect of it. Make sure that you have a good nest egg put away if things come up. It's always difficult when you're starting a business to have that. I started with $800 is basically what I started my whole business with, a tax return. And you know, honestly, I've tried to follow and listen to any mentors that I had to give me advice. So I suppose that maybe looking back, you know, if I had anything, maybe to start utilizing contracts and things sooner, but we've really, knock on wood, we've not had any kind of major problems or upsets in that respect. So